It'll be fun, they said. And now where are they? Dead.
It's like I've seen the most beautiful thing. It's like I've seen the most beautiful.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
You ain't scared. Yeah. Me. Sam B.
Now, when you watch a trailer for a game, what do you expect from it? To see gameplay for a taste of what's to come with your $60 purchase? A preview of the narrative that will hopefully enthrall you for days or even weeks to come? Or just a sneak peek at something you and your friends will play together? And what if I told you, none of that please? Let's make something absolutely depressing, gripping, and give some Last of Us vibes before the concept of The Last of Us was even a publicly known thing. The best part? The themes of loss, despair, and dark overtones in a usually bright and relaxing environment, so well shot that even Lionsgate wanted to begin production on a movie based on this trailer alone? Well, throw all that bullshit out the window like this guy's daughter. A fine case of false advertising, as we never got anything that looked this good or felt this emotionally powerful, not having zombie kids to wipe out despite being the first zombie we see in this franchise, and anything reminiscent of lasting horror. Instead, let's have a one-hit wonder hip-hop artist Sam B, get it, Sam B, zombie, rapping about voodoo in Louisiana swamplands as a drunk guy casually sees the stiff and lifeless-eyed four main playable protagonists of the story. The story played out in the tropical beach setting as he held out to help other survivors, well, survive until you eventually venture further deeper into the Isle of Banoi to figure out about the zombie virus's origins and secrets before eventually escaping to a rushed, flooded sequel that gave a mutated strain of the virus that led to a cliffhanger that's been left hanging for 8 years now. In that time, one trailer, numerous spin-offs, failures, casual promises, and questionable choices have left many fans of the franchise asking what the hell is going on. With Techland prospering into making Dying Light and now Dying Light 2, while Deep Silver cringefully juggles developers long into one of the gaming industry's most terrifying buzzwords,
Development hell.
So let's go ahead and explore what we know and try to answer the question, what happened to Dead Island and the franchise as a whole? So Dead Island originally released on September 6th of 2011, almost 10 years ago now, and many at the time leading up to the game would assume this would be a 4-player co-op zombie type of game that would be close to an open world version of Left 4 Dead. While that was far from it, it was a strong, mediocre experience that many enjoyed. I myself at the time did, mainly through the leveling up system, weapon customization, character classes, zombie type score, the gore especially on top of the leveling up system is what kept me coming to the game so frequently in its first year. Just the sounds and feels of cutting a limb, it was just magnifique and aesthetic of the game as you played with friends. Now the game's animated cutscenes looking pretty stiff and lifeless compared to the gripping trailer, well, it felt a bit off-putting, with many reviewers saying the game was just a meh to lukewarm experience, with combat and missions getting real stale real quick after just a few hours. The game would be rife with game-breaking bugs upon release and months after, with my buddy DJ and many others reporting that game save files would randomly corrupt with no way of retrieving all that time spent on the game.
Fuck you!
Meaning, if you got yourself to have a level 50 character with tons of good weapons on 2 separate playthroughs, well, sucks for you. Should've bought a different game, loser.
64 hours, 6 minutes, and 27 minutes into the game. I'm on chapter 10, it says going green. Your save game appears to be corrupted. Wow, that really pisses me the fuck off. Wow.
At least it has an item duplication glitch they never patched out. But as any game that sells 5 million copies, fans, and more importantly, publishers, will flirt and crave the idea of a sequel. I mean, Left 4 Dead 2 came out exactly 1 year after Left 4 Dead 1, so surely it won't take long for Dead Island 2 to come out. Right? Right? Many games remain in a veritable purgatory, or, as I said earlier, speaking in industry terms,
Development hell.
spending so much time in the oven, nobody knows if they will come out half-baked, burnt to a crisp, a perfect souffle, or never put in the oven at all. Games like The Last Guardian, Diablo 3, 2 Human, and most infamously, Duke Nukem Forever, have shown extremely varying degrees of success and easily digestible forms of failure for YouTubers to prey on. Hell, even the original Dead Island was plagued with delays, from its E3 2006 announcement, with a couple screenshots thrown out here and there, all the way to its eventual clickbait trailer and official debut in 2011. Now, there would be spin-offs and continuations in the following years, such as the pretty much sequel Dead Island Riptide releasing in 2013, that allowed you to transfer your save file and leveled up characters from Dead Island to continue with. Now, Riptide wasn't good, but it wasn't bad either. But it was followed up by this cel-shaded spin-off that no one played, Escape Dead Island, in 2014. And even...
Dead Island Epidemic is unlike any other online multiplayer experience. Fast, action-packed, and just a little bit insane.
What? This happened? Seriously? A League of Legends like MOBA called called Dead Island Epidemic that released in a free-to-play open beta that would never leave this phase of its life, as it was cancelled in 2015. Choking on my own disappointment, but I wonder why. Well, it being free to play and not what people asked for surely showed the franchise holders that something of that nature was not what the fan base wanted. Right? Come on, they had to take a hint at that point.
So maybe it's time you take the hint and move along.
Call me Sam B. Hey, I got a friend, Sean May.
Hi, my name is Sha Mei. It might not look like much.
Yeah, that's right. They released a mobile game with everything in the Dead Island franchise in an even more cartoony-like style. Nobody asked for this. It was so disliked and forgotten that even I forgot it. When I was looking back to get footage for this video, I forgot that when it first came out, I even dropped a dislike on the official trailer video nearly 3 years ago. I forgot this even happened. I won't lie though, when looking for gameplay of it, the top comment on the game's playthrough on Prizarad Android iOS gameplays, we have Dead Island 2 at home. It was a tap-and-go RTS game on top of being a tower defense game that is, of course, riddled with what looks like in-game currency to buy your way to victory. Why?
Money!
I would try and give it a play to see how bad it is, but depressingly, not really. Dead Island Survivors was shut down in July of 2020, so good luck trying to play this dead game. Get it? But back in 2016, a remaster compilation titled Dead Island Definitive Edition released, being comprised of Dead Island Riptide, and a free bonus side-scroller called Dead Island Retro Revenge. But besides some better lighting, better textures, still lifeless eyes in the cinematics and stiff survivors and cutscenes, and a tossed-in game you'll probably play once and never touch again, it was just the same games we played years ago. But out of all of this, nothing besides Dead Island Riptide to a certain degree, mainly feeling like a $20 DLC with a $60 full game price tag, ever felt like a true sequel to the original game. Now, some games out there have intended sequels that their own developers and fans ravenously want to make and play, but because of financial reasons or lack of interest by their producers, won't ever come out at all, as seen recently with the proposed sequel to Days Gone. But just if you're a developer, don't go blaming your gaming consumer base for not buying your game for full price at launch. But that's not the case for Dead Island 2. The fans wanted a sequel. Deep Silver wanted a sequel. Well, in the midst of a myriad of spin-offs and remasters, let's dial back to 2014, because something that many people expected to eventually happen, happened at Sony's E3 press conference. It was truly the dawn of the Dead Island 2. The shot of a dude bro rich guy going on a jog, hitting on women, getting his cardio on, with a song about bombs about to blow up as the San Francisco area behind him devolves into chaos, showing, much like everything in the franchise after Riptide, that they were embracing a less dark and depressing atmosphere in lieu of a more brightly vibrant and comical tone. They basically went from 28 Days Later dark tone to a Zombieland aesthetic. Top that off with what I assumed was Jack Black getting him some new Jordans.
Freaking awesome!
And we got a slight glimpse of what was supposedly coming in late spring to early summer of 2015. Although a representative at Sony had some words to say that, well,
at PlayStation we love us some shambling goodness, whether it's zombies, walkers, or the infected.
Reverse and hold at 38.5.
I do agree with, and that I really don't like to hear when a game is in development, even if it was 7 years ago.
Now you just saw Dead Island 2 debut. It will have a 30-day exclusive beta.
This is fine.
As well as a full exclusive character class and level, only on PS4.
You what?
Besides locking 30 days free access to the beta, and having a character class exclusive to one console, and how cringy that is, we gotta keep moving on. While Dead Island 2 was announced in 2014, the initial groundwork for a direct sequel had been talked about way back in 2012, just 1 year after the original Dead Island's release.
There's no place to hide in hell. No room in hell.
Techland, the original developers of Dead Island, had been poised to continue their work with a sequel, but the studio made the creative decision to branch off with loads of new ideas and begin working on Dying Light with Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. Techland's reasoning for splitting off from Deep Silver was mainly the creative differences they had with Deep Silver at the time when throwing around ideas for the next installment. Basically saying that Deep Silver's vision to them was much too restrictive, as they wanted to make a more AAA-like title with key implementations that deviated from the Dead Island formula, such as parkour allowing the player to move however they wanted, instead of how Dead Island felt stiff and limited in where you could go, or the day and night cycle system that became an integral part of Dying Light's infected and core gameplay versus Dead Island's static time of day. And most importantly, the dramatic shift in tone and atmosphere, with Dead Island's half lighthearted and half dark story with hack and slash elements to Dying Light's grittier and more serious narrative. With Warner Brothers giving them complete creative control, with this brand new franchise with a darker tone, better maneuverability, and what many would think of in name and studio as a spiritual successor to Dead Island pay off for them, only time would tell. Now, back over to Dead Island's development, down a developer, publisher Deep Silver went looking for other creative talents in 2012. And after a successful pitch, gave the job to Berlin-based video programmers Yager Development, who previously worked on Spec Ops: The Line. With such a large production now in their hands, Yager Development created a new division for the company called Yager Productions GmbH to focus solely on Dead Island 2 from 2012 onwards. Now 2 years down the road in 2014, Deep Silver and Yager presented their first gameplay footage at Gamescom, revealing the sunny shores of San Francisco and showing that recognizable locations like Hollywood and Santa Monica Pier would be explorable with 4 playable survivors and up to 8-player cooperative lobbies. Considering the bright and sunny atmosphere contrasting with the horrors of the zombie genre, Dead Island 2 being set in the Palm Shore harbors of San Francisco only made perfect sense. And there was a leaked demo that came out in the last year, And if anything proves itself, I would have to say it's needless to say, I think Yager was projecting themselves into the survivors' dialogue, with the male and female survivor both only pretty much having one line of dialogue.
Sometimes I impress myself. Sometimes I impress myself. Sometimes I impress myself.
I guess they were really impressed with themselves. And hell, I don't know if they were really making progress at that point. If only there was a way to know if they were making progress.
I'm really making progress here. I'm really making progress here. I'm really making progress here. I'm making progress here.
However, any progress that was made would never be divulged afterwards, as Yager would go silent after Gamescom 2014, with no new information cropping up for nearly a year.
More where that came from.
In the meantime, Techland would release Dying Light in January of 2015, and within its first week of release, 1.2 million people were recorded to have played, with retail copies of Dying Light breaking records on the US software sales chart, beating Grand Theft Auto 5 and Call of Duty Advanced Warfare for that week, while also becoming the #1 best first month of sales for a new survival horror intellectual property, beating out previous title holder The Evil Within. Techland's decision to drop Dead Island 2 for a different venture paid off exceedingly well for them. But why was that? It was because it was due to their freedom of creative control throughout their development process. With the success of Dying Light wholeheartedly out there to the public, Deep Silver had some stiff competition and an even more critical eye on what would come out of Dead Island 2, considering how much Techland was able to revamp and build upon their previous project. However, for undisclosed reasons, Deep Silver made the swift decision in July of 2015 to drop Yager development completely from Dead Island 2's production 3 years into the game's development.
Really making progress here.
Not much is known behind the scenes of why Deep Silver had cut ties with Yager, except for a short answer delivered by Yager's managing director, Timo Ullman, stating Yager and Deep Silver's respective visions of the project fell out of alignment. Now this is a small but all-telling quote that harkens back to a big reason why Techland decided to go their own way instead of being heavily restricted by Deep Silver. Maybe if Techland did stay with Deep Silver, we could have seen a Dead Island 2 come to fruition, but it wouldn't be much of anything new, except locations, weapons, and abilities, but nothing nearly as reminiscent of what turned into Dying Light. But getting back to Yager, with their cash cow and goal that was Dead Island 2 fizzled up, Yager Productions had to get their side studio to file for insolvency. So with Yager out the window, Deep Silver was ready for another group of ready developers to throw under the bus. Hire on to continue their fabled passion project. And the next victim was Sumo Digital in 2016, who had previously worked on games like some Sega Sonic racing games, Little Big Planet 3, Sackboy, Snake
Kiss my snake ass!
and Crackdown 3. Oof. Speak of the devil, as we were just talking about games that went through development hell. Sumo Digital would remain relatively silent from 2016 onwards about production of Dead Island 2, while Deep Silver kept stating that Dead Island 2 was definitely on the way.
Yeah, they're on their way. They're still coming.
That was until 2019, when we suddenly saw Sumo Digital flailing in the rearview mirror behind the never-ending joyride of Deep Silver's development hell. Sumo was out and Deep Silver was in deep shit, so they brought in another studio by the name of Dambuster Studios, who previously worked on Homefront: The Revolution, and since then haven't been officially kicked out the proverbial window of Dead Island 2's development. Yet. Everything else pertaining to the Dead Island 2 development cycle has been pretty quiet in the meantime, outside Deep Silver responding to hungry commenters chomping at the bit for another Dead Island. But when it comes to a release date, all Deep Silver really can say is they don't expect the game to release this year, but again, don't worry, it's coming.
They're on their way. They're gonna be amazing.
But what about supporting the previous title? Well, Dead Island over the years hasn't gotten much support recently, with only one real DLC ever coming out for the original Dead Island, being a half-assed wave-based horde event. And they did include that Rider White DLC campaign that was pretty short but fun in a short burst, and in the definitive edition they added the One Punch mode, with Riptide honestly feeling like a $30 expansion DLC with a $60 full release price tag. The biggest thing the fanbase has gotten was the remastered collection, but that was half a decade ago now. Besides that, we have had our spin-offs that either died on arrival or flew so under the radar that many never knew existed in the first place. Escape Dead Island and the Retrocade minigames are stuff I see in the store or when booting up Dead Island Remastered and you think, oh, that's neat, whatever. But they are something I won't touch, or I just have no interest in ever getting into, just because it feels so disconnected from what originally hooked me from the franchise. Them branching the series out in a bunch of different directions, genres, and even tone feels so tone deaf. I mean, making a Zomba? Look, I'm all about puns, but Zomba? Really?
My disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined.
It feels so disgenuine. Who played League of Legends, Dota 2, or Heroes of the Storm and thought, yeah, I'll play this instead? Who the fuck knew or even remembers shit about the MOBA game? And who wonders how or why this ever existed in the first place? And on top of that, they thought doing a cartoony mobile game would gauge interest, or more importantly to them, revenue, because that's all that fucking matters. But making yet another mobile game flop that nobody asked for, that turned a Dead Island title into a dead game title. And I'm not being overly dramatic like those man babies that consider games like Fortnite, Minecraft, or Destiny dead.
You like that to me. What?
No, these games are literally dead because you literally can't play it because there's nothing left and its player base completely died out or was trickling down till they said, it's not worth this game existing anymore, it's not making money, shoot it in the back of the head. Why put all this effort into easy to make and produce spin-offs that they know will probably end up failing before launch? Well, looking back at it, it's probably as a tax write-off like Square Enix with Balan's Wonderworld. But it's hilariously baffling to see Deep Silver play musical chairs with studios when they are struggling so much to even give Dead Island a number 2. Even freaking Valve could count to 2. At least they could count that far. While Deep Silver pretends to know how to juggle studios in front of a few hopeful kids that think the clown magician could pull a rabbit out of its ass, Techland has done more with their ideas and development with their creative freedoms, giving Dying Light countless small updates, DLCs, and even a huge expansion in the following to keep the game alive. Even to this day, while development of Dying Light 2 is ongoing, the amount of small and large updates they have done, even adding freaking Noam Chomsky, Dying Light gives you reasons to come back. While Dead Island is sitting in the corner of the street on its remastered edition, spanking itself, saying, "Hey kid, we still have that unintended item duplication glitch we never patched out." But much like a number of the zombies in Riptide, hopes for Dead Island 2 coming out anytime soon are dead in the water. But if it truly gets announced with a date, do not get your hopes up. If anything, history in recent gaming has told us not to do so. Instead, put your trust into Techland. Even if you're not a zombie fan or anything, it's still a unique experience because they took their vision of Dead Island to a different path and blossomed from it, allowing Dying Light to surpass Dead Island in many ways, which, thinking about it, probably has Deep Silver shaking in their boots to even release Dead Island 2 at all, because many people would consider it an inferior product that many are going to critically compare to Dying Light now, and bash it if it feels like anything less. Especially since Dying Light 2 is going to be happening before Dead Island 2, despite Dying Light 1 coming out almost 4 years after Dead Island 1, giving Dead Island a near 10-year head start on a proper sequel, with Dying Light 2's initial development coming to a close soon. And not only that, but if Techland keep up their work ethic from before, we can expect to see loving and continued support for an indefinite amount of time till possibly Dying Light 3 comes out in, say, 2028? Which, quick shout out and thank you to Techland for sending this cool little care package a few weeks ago. I appreciate the swag and teasers at Dying Light 2 Stay Human. I'm saying this as a fan and not someone who got free stuff. I cannot wait to see how well you develop this story's narrative to branch out and keep that fun of fighting and surviving against the undead and other people along the way. So if I had anything to say to Techland if they're watching right now as Dying Light 2 is getting ready to release, all I have to say is good night and good luck. And if I could say anything to Deep Silver about turning their premier zombie franchise into the next Duke Nukem with mobile games and cheap MOBAs, leaving us on a cliffhanger, a cheesy trailer, half-hearted comments on Twitter, and tossing out developer after developer, all I really have to say to you, who the fuck do you voodoo bitch?
Army and you can't harm me. Yeah,